Yeah, where is it? It's somewhere in here.
He's quite
Yeah, okay. When I got oh, okay.
Okay, I'll call the Huntington Township Planning Commission meeting in March to order. First item is, does anybody have any public comment on the agenda items listed? Not hearing any. Move on. Need to approve the minutes of the February meeting as presented. Everybody have a chance to check these out?
Yep.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? Not hearing any, I entertain a motion to accept the minutes for record.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kyle to accept them, is there a second?
Second.
Second
By
by
Jeff.
Jeff.
Jeff, okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next item is zoning officer report.
I don't see it in your printed stack of information there, but I think I emailed everyone a copy last week. 3 building permits were issued in February. The township currently has 2 plans under review, the Townsend 1-lot subdivision plan and Miller 1-lot subdivision plan. SQMA had their special exception hearing for their motorized sports facility March 11th, and that special exception was approved.
Okay.
And I received a complaint, a zoning complaint for a property on Gun Club Road, some debris and half disassembled buildings and junk cars and stuff. So I stopped by and dropped off correspondence to them, asking them to have everything rectified and cleaned up in 60 days.
Okay.
Stuff's been there for 4 or 6 months or longer, so he's had plenty of time to work on it.
Okay, clean up by, what'd you say, 60 days?
What was that address?
It's a mobile home park. There's not an
Oh,
address
down at the other end.
specifically for.
Yeah, it's a side, it's a side.
Other end.
Mm-hmm.
Just the place with the goats.
There's no goats.
No goats.
No goats.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay.
You know, Scott, one thing that I see, you reminded me, and actually I was gonna talk to Chuck. There's a tree hanging on, it's on Gun Club, north of where you're talking about, south of Weirman's. There's a tree hanging on, I think it's actually on the, it's on the low voltage line,
Yeah.
not on the high voltage line.
It's hanging pretty bad.
It's on, what's that?
It's bleeding pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And I don't know whose
Exactly.
responsibility that is to take that down, but
Tree over the road.
it's not over the road, it's over the line, and if it comes down, it'll be over the road.
Okay, that's the power company.
The telephone,
Yeah.
is it
Well,
on the telephone line?
It's a low voltage.
I think the telephone company's been notified.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chuck, I'm pretty sure he knows about it. There was several, over this past 2 weekends.
Okay,
Where he had to come in, and I know from past experience, that when it's either on or about to be on,
We don't touch it.
because if you tear the telephone line down.
No, I know it's not our responsibility, but
Well,
somebody needs to be notified.
Okay, well, I think the telephone company's already been
All right.
notified. I'll check on that for sure.
Typically, they don't do anything until the line's been damaged.
Yeah, the problem is though, it could pull the power line down. I mean, you don't know what happens when the next phase of it coming down, so, all right.
Yeah, the power outage that just happened last Monday. They were notified 6 to 8 months ago about that tree. The power, at Met Ed, and they never did anything about it
Okay.
until it came down on it. So that's the way the work
That's
now.
typical, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, is that our zoning officer, do you have an engineer's report?
It's all combined into one now.
All one? Okay. All right, I guess moving on, next item is new business. At Townsend one lot subdivision. There's in your packet, there's plans, I guess that's the first we've had able to see the plan. There's very little there's a lot of land, but there's very little going on in Huntington Township, but they've asked us to table, there'll be a time extension needed on that, because it runs out in April 26th, I think. So, we need to table it, because they need more time, apparently.
And nobody cares for that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So,
That property's for sale, isn't it?
yeah. Well,
The house.
they're gonna sell the house with an acre, roughly an acre there. That lies in the borough.
Mhm.
And last month you asked to see a plan for it, so we have that here.
Actually, it's cut up in York Springs Borough, Huntington Township, and Lyra Township, so
Correct.
Oh, similar.
The
there's
trifecta.
3 municipalities dealing with it, so
Okay.
that makes it triple difficult.
But it's longer to get everyone's signature and okay on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we table that.
Okay, Tom made the motion to table the Townsend subdivision plan on Main Street. Is there a second to that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second by Marlon. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next item of business, the new business is the Miller one lot subdivision in Ground Oak Church Road. Ken, are you representing that, or?
Yes,
Somebody wanna present the plan to us?
Yeah.
You want,
Scott or what we're proposing is to create a residential lot on the property of Ron Miller at on Ground Oak Road. Currently, it's a 5-acre parcel, and wishes to create a 3-acre parcel or we're gonna create a 2-acre parcel for his current, his existing dwelling, and the remainder for a residential lot. Started on a planning module for this. However, I'm still waiting on response from Game Commission. It's been about a month from waiting on response from Game Commission. So I don't have a planning module submitted yet.
all right.
What's the game commission connection here?
When you submit a planning module, you need to create a PNDI report,
Okay.
and based on the PNDI report,
Let me guess, bats?
I don't know what it
It's
is.
probably bats.
It might be, but
Could be bog turtles down in there too. 'cause
Down
that's-
there.
But that don't come from,
Well, it don't come on your property, down in over
But
that
that don't-
hollow back there,
Down in the back.
down in that creek bottom.
yeah,
that-
that's not game commission.
That would be DOT.
No, that, yeah, that's federal.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's weird.
That PNDI, yeah, you have to clear that before you can move forward,
Yes.
so. Is there anything?
I had a few comments there, comment letters there. Most of it refers to new requirements or different requirements for the new subdivision ordinance. So I don't see any big hang-ups with Ken getting, meeting compliance with the ordinance.
Yeah, although I don't have any problem with the comments. I was working on this plan and submitted this plan, and after the plan was submitted, it came to my attention that there was a new subdivision ordinance, but when I went online, there was, the most recent ordinance was the old one. Scott provided me a copy of the ordinance, but most of these comments would not be there if the ordinance would have been posted where I would have been able to view it prior to actually submitting this plan.
Well, regardless, was the plan submitted, Scott, was the plan submitted prior to the new ordinance or after?
No, it was submitted the
After?
first of the month,
Okay.
and the saldo was adopted in December.
But where was it it wasn't posted.
Well, yeah, posted, but you have the responsibility of coming in here and checking if, finding out. If you have a current ordinance, if we have adopted something, it takes a little while to get things posted and all of that. But that doesn't negate the need to follow the ordinance that's adopted.
And we just got the final signed copy from Todd, I think it was yesterday,
Yeah.
so now that we have that, we can have the internet folks put that on the
Post.
website then.
Okay. All right, but you don't have any problems with it?
Like I said, I don't have any problems with the comments.
Okay.
All right. County.
I think the county just reiterates most of just Scott's comments.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get these cleaned up and for next month.
Yeah, is there any action for us tonight?
Just
I'd
to,
ask for a conditional recommendation.
I-
I mean, the comments are fairly minor.
yeah, they are, but there's numerous comments, plus we still don't have the sewer planning yet,
Oh, good.
so,
Yeah.
my recommendation would be to table it to next month, and when we get the sewer planning in here, then we can consider conditional approval.
Yeah.
Is that- I don't want to restate this, but I'm going to. We're not pushing conditional approvals on the board of supervisors. It's this board's responsibility to make sure the plans are completed as nearly as possible other than outside approval, like PennDOT, possibly DEP, something like that. But we're not moving them along to the board of supervisors without us being satisfied as a board, so. Well, if you can get this cleaned up, we'll take a good look at it next month, and hopefully be ready to. Well, I don't need to table this Ronald L. Miller plan on Brown Oak Church Road. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Tom, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kyle. Any questions? Anyone on the board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay.
Third item on the new business is streets and sidewalk ordinance update.
6 weeks ago, I asked the supervisors if I could take a look at this, and they said I could. The current street and sidewalk ordinance, chapter 21, it just has some,
Excuse me, is this out of the code or is this out of is this through township code?
yeah, Township Code, chapter 21.
Okay.
It's not part of the subdivision.
That's why I just wanted to make sure everybody knew where it's coming from.
It has some administrative items, but it has absolutely no design requirements for driveways in the township. And it's come up in the past year of whether or not someone who applies for a building permit for a dwelling, whether or not they have to meet the driveway requirements in the subdivision land development ordinance or not, because it's really not a subdivision or land development. So I'd like to tie the design requirements to the salvo. That's what I have here on your single sheet there. For approval of permit, I broke it down into two different types of permits, an access permit and a drainage permit. And I just referred to the applicable sections of the subdivision land development ordinance for the design details, instead of copying and pasting 3 pages worth of requirements. But if you feel like that should be enumerated specifically here, I mean, we can do it that way.
I'm fine to refer to it. What would then have to be changed, Scott?
Well, you also have the original section there. And, you know, for 104 approval permits, I would add these 2 items, A and B, at the end. And I'd also add a sidewalks requirement in there, with requirements as well, which, due to the brevity in the subdivision land development ordinance, I just copied and pasted them there.
No, I understand that. I guess I'm asking, then what documents have to be changed? You're gonna insert by reference into the zoning code, right?
Not zoning,
Oh, south,
not salvo.
Township code.
This,
okay.
this is a different
Chapter
chapter.
21.
Third try, okay. The township code, all right. Help me understand, that's where I'm obviously fuzzy on this. So, into the township code, you'd insert by reference what you're talking about here, okay. So, so the township code needs to be changed? Is that a,
That's my recommendation.
yeah, okay, but if we do that, which I take your point, or is this a hearing process?
It'll have to be publicly advertised and
And have a hearing, because we're
Hearing
changing
is
the township code.
yeah.
Okay,
One point,
go ahead.
if you're thinking of the MPC for the processes for zoning and subdivision.
Right,
That only applies to those ordinances. The rest of the ordinances included in this chapter you're talking about fall under the regulations of the township code established by the state, which has its own separate process to go by.
I understand what you said, but I don't understand the relevance. What,
There's different notification requirements and outside review requirements for the township code versus anything that falls under the jurisdiction of the planning code.
okay. And
It's easier, it's quicker to update
that
the
was,
ones that where the township code applies and is the ones where the planning code applies. That's.
but we're still going through a public notice in here. All right,
And I was,
thank you, that's what I was trying to do.
and I wanted to get your view and opinion before I gave it to Todd for him to look at. So, he would know the ins and outs of
The
this.
process, yeah, okay.
There, one question. Last summer, I worked with, I think, Chuck and maybe Dave to go review the list of streets.
Yeah.
Street.
in the township.
Yeah.
Would that revised list go in here as well? Would that go in a different section?
That's already included in another section.
Okay.
Yeah, that's done.
It is, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And, I mean, I think this is needed because there's no design requirements right now for regular driveway.
Good point.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd still have to have the permit fees and all that sections be part of it. Right? What you're going to do is add these.
Yeah, I mean, the permits are already included in another section of this chapter.
So they're gonna have to have two permits now, instead of just one for a driveway, I'm gonna have to have one for the driveway and then a separate for the drainage that's involved with it.
Well, it depends on what it is. If it's a driveway with the culvert, I mean, that's just one permit, the driveway.
they would be
Okay.
combined, go ahead.
But
Okay.
if something needs to be done where there's a drainage improvement that needs to be done,
If
but the driveway's already there, then they would have to get a drainage permit. I just don't want someone pulling an old 12-inch culvert out that's undersized and just throwing another 12-inch culvert in.
That's happened a lot around.
Right. So there's no point in making a problem when there's already a problem there.
Good point.
And for the sidewalks, I'm not saying that everyone should have to put sidewalks in their property.
We don't have many sidewalks.
Right, so I'm keeping it to subdivisions where they have small, I'm sorry?
I say except for Florence Springs, that's about it.
Right. It's subdivisions that are small lots would require subdivisions. And if there's several small residential lots that are already there and that someone's building new homes there, then they could have a sidewalk there if there's multiple properties.
Yeah.
But not if there's just one or two houses there.
There's not too many, no, in Idaville.
And of course, it wouldn't apply to existing homes either.
I was
Right,
gonna say,
okay.
So-
New
there is a
construction.
sidewalk
Right,
there.
so if there's a existing row of 7 homes that are there, and they're small lots, I mean, that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they have to put a sidewalk in.
Yeah.
Right.
And most, these 30,000 square foot lots would have to have, now, would have to have public sewer and water,
Correct.
Yeah, because it's too small.
Yeah. So, this is the same out of the sourdough that we already have in place, so there's no overlapping, it's the same.
Right, the
same
sidewalk,
requirement.
yeah, the sidewalk section, with the exception of letter A, that I added.
Letter A, which letter A? The letter A under sidewalk?
Sidewalks, letter A.
Okay. Oh, okay.
To account for development outside of the land development
Okay.
process.
Okay.
So, what are we, we're looking at, whether or not it's, give you a favorable recommendation, what is that we're looking at?
Yeah, I was putting it up for discussion, your recommendation. I'm not, it's not an emergency, I'm not asking for us to push it to the supervisors right away. If you wanna think about it for a month, that's.
Well, you'd wanna go, the next step would, for you to go discuss it with Todd, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we had another, had to look at it until next month and then make the recommendation with them.
Yeah, that's perfectly
That
fine.
gives everybody a little bit of time to digest it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to push or rush anything through, so
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not an emergency.
All right,
Yeah, thanks for bringing this
Just
to our
thought it'd
attention,
be
though.
taken-
Yeah,
Taken
Yeah.
care of, that's all.
okay.
so we need to table that, I guess. Should,
It's really not an action, but
It's not an
I'm
action.
okay either way.
we'll just table it, and it's
May 17th.
All right.
coming next month.
All right.
Entertain a motion to table.
With the condition that we review it and come with an expectation of acting on it next month.
Yeah,
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, I'll make that motion, the one I just said.
And I'll second
Motion made with Tom, second. Kyle's,
Oh,
I'll say it first.
All right.
it. I don't care.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so
You're closer.
I just want to reflect, if we're supposed to do some homework, I just want it in the minutes that we're supposed to do some homework.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't? We're going to principal's office.
That could well happen.
Test might be
I
wrong.
wouldn't rule that out.
Maybe you'll have more people.
Okay, I guess, we're ready for old business.
Like once a week. Change your pocket.
Excuse me, is that a new map? Is that a different map from the last one?
Any copy, they're extra if you need.
Yeah, if anybody wants a map.
Yeah, everybody liked how the editor put this on screen, and as you were all talking, it was very, very helpful.
Want?
I have more if you
We're good, I think we just have one to. You want it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody's got a map.
Good looking stuff.
Thanks for bringing that up.
I was gonna do this last month, but I ended up being somewhere else. That, no offense, had higher priority.
We're not affected.
So this would have been, it was January,
Yes.
we talked about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And, and I apologize, it's kind of hard to see the whole township with it zoomed in. This is what it, roughly what it presented in January. This, and explained the character areas were in the different types. And we had a long discussion and some things we wanted to change and come back with some different alternatives here, different alternative to look at. So let me see if this works. Okay, it does. So here's what we had back in January, and here is the version that's in front of you. And this with this fancy little slider thing that my GIS people gave me to kind of see where the changes are as it goes. There's, so we're going to start up here in the where the mouse plan is and the Idaville. You can see nothing is really changing. Over in that part there, you still have the little industrial character area there around now it's Peach Glen plant. You still have the little rural residential area there along Georgetown Road. You still have the village there in Idaville. You still have these cluster of larger rural lots there. Ted, I think you pointed out these were Harry Fox type of lots. There you see a bunch of clusters, one up here by the county line, over here, and then a bunch in the center part. You know, areas that are they're residential lots. They're larger residential lots. Maybe not large enough for more than maybe there might be a couple agricultural lots in there that might be very targeted stuff, but they're largely residential areas that are surrounded by agricultural areas. So it's not really until you get over to the bottom half of the township where you start to see some changes here. So that's what it was before. You can kind of see what it is here. So let's go down here, over by where the school campus is and the state game lands, where you can start to see the changes there. And see, in this one here, I'd accidentally included the state game lands in there because I wasn't paying attention when I drew it. Here you can see I sort of drew that back, and we had talked about, we had an extensive conversation about the township's existing zoning. Apologies, there's a lot of lines. I'll take some of these off. The blue lines of the town are the current zoning districts. A lengthy discussion about the commercial district and this area down here,
Yep.
just north of Heidlersburg and the interchange there, about, is that appropriate? There's some agricultural operations down there, and how there's a little discussion of how that ended up in there 25 plus years ago. So you can kind of, so as part of that discussion there, we talked about, maybe this area over here along 94 as a potential area, and then we talked about the difference between the areas up here. Here's the 15 interchange as it comes down around the residential, which we'll get to there, and then originally it came all the way down. It's a big area here that basically came down the entire old Harrisburg Road corridor, almost down to might be Wireman's Mill Road.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it.
So with this, and so one more time, we had previously this really small commercial area down here. So with the revisions here, I sort of split some things out here. So we talked about this one here, a little smaller, pure commercial area here. And then splitting the bottom half of that original area there, which is pretty much, so I want to say that's probably south of the, I think that's the Shed Place or something just south of that area there. Sort of splitting that into this gray area, which you can see on your map there, I called that's a rural commercial mixed use area. That's like a small, less intense version of a commercial district, and we get there. I'll explain that a little deeper here. And then coming down to this area, apologize for it not loading there. That's what we do. Narrowing it much closer around the existing commercial properties that either have been or have been proposed for development down here. These are just rough lines drawn by hand. Don't think of these as it's not going to come over on that side of the road. It's just circling the area.
It is over on the other side of the road now, though, right?
Right. It is.
So that's really not showing what actually is
right. And
possibly.
Again, right.
because that one property was just sold at auction, and I know it was purchased with the knowledge that it is in the commercial district, so.
Okay.
Are we gonna remove that opportunity for that guy now, or?
Well, that's part of the discussion here. This is not a
That's just what's being used as commercial right now, not,
Right, again, this part here, step here is what we call character areas. We're just identifying areas that have common uses, common visuals to them.
Cody, can you point specifically to what you were saying? I want to understand.
right down in here. So,
Oh, along Old
Oh,
Harrisburg.
old Harrison.
yes,
Yeah.
this property was not
Yeah.
sold, this one was, the same gentleman bought all three places. And that carried some value because it is in the commercial district there, so.
It is.
That's why I'm saying this really, to me, isn't representing what actually is commercial. 'Cause that could all be sold and used for commercial purposes in the zoning ordinance, that's just what's used right now, so it's not really, in my opinion, not accurately representing that area, but it's just,
Were you talking about the stuff that was just sold by Hurley?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, that was one of the pieces.
Right, yep,
And actually on the other side of the road, part of it. too.
correct, yeah, there's
Right,
bilateral.
right.
So, again, the purpose of this step isn't to establish what the final zoning map will be. It's to start the discussion of where the districts should be using these character areas. It's currently, regardless of what the zoning on the west side of 15 currently is, in actuality, right now, it's an agricultural setting with some large residential lots in it. The planning question is, do you want to continue it being commercial to the extent it is over there now, considering that those uses have to go through other settings to reach their highest and best uses there. These large, this commercial district now includes some fairly high intense uses that those properties will be, given their setting, would be, have some value. Problem is, to use them, they're going to have trips, a lot of trips. They go down through the village of Heidlersburg. They're not getting direct access to 15. They're coming out on Old Harrisburg Road. Is that something that you want to continue to allow? That's the policy discussion.
Well, the other thing you have to look at too, Andy, is what roads access those properties, because some of what you have, and I mean, one of them is my property, but some of what you have in the circle there is not White Church Road address. It's Gun Club Road address. And so it's an entirely different character over there. So that's why, whether it's off of Oxford, whether it's off of Old Harrisburg, like Cody just said, or whether it's off of White Church, where we have this corridor going up there, or Gun Club, you got to figure out, if you start drawing lines or circles, you got to say, okay, where's that property? Because that property could be in a whole different place than you think. It's not. It may be contiguous to the commercial, but it's in a different place because one property's accessed off of a very agricultural road, and another one's accessed off of the commercial road.
So let me approach this with a different question. How large? Where do you think the best place for? Forget what it is currently zoned.
Right.
We'll take that out of the equation. In this setting down here, what areas do you think should be commercial? Makes the most sense to be something that's not an agricultural or residential zone, given its proximity to an interchange, even though it's not in your township.
Well, that's I'm sorry. Well, that's where I was going, because a whole bunch of what you have just off of the blue line, which is our township, is commercial, because it's Tyrone's commercial, and some of it's Tyrone's upper level commercial, whatever that commercial, industrial, whatever it is.
Right.
So it does make sense for some, I think, for us to if we're looking at making these changes, it makes sense to look down there, but it also makes sense to probably look at it off of Oxford. You've made
Well,
that point
I
a couple
agree,
different
because-
times.
And I understand the 234 Old 15 interchange, but White Church Road's nasty intersection getting up and down there.
It
You want
really
people-
is.
You want people
Yeah.
in trucks and stuff going down there or over here.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
you know, my small brain, this shouldn't go across, this shouldn't be over here. This should stop with Old 15 and
Yeah,
be on this side. You have a lot less houses over here.
yeah,
This is one big kind of open thing. You know,
And
you got a lot
better
more
access.
people over here.
Yes.
You got the development up the other end.
yes.
Unfortunately, this makes more sense if we're gonna have some
Yeah,
big,
you're
massive,
exactly.
big,
right.
massive thing.
You're
And if we
exactly
go
right.
shrinking it down to this little teeny bit, I don't see that helping.
Yeah, if I were starting over, I wouldn't have done any of this
I
on
wouldn't have
White.
did that over there, but
Yeah,
that's
it's-
already been.
Yeah, I know. If I were starting over, I wouldn't do any of that. It's one of the worst intersections.
I would wanna direct attention to the other side of 15.
Yeah, we've had people killed right there, and, sorry to keep pointing in
That's,
front of you.
I don't know how you'd ever get a semi down over that hump and
Yeah.
up over the, they'll be,
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's an observation, I guess. is
yeah,
what
my point is, if you're starting over, I mean, look, access.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want it to be off of township roads where we gotta be rebuilt to that kind of thing. You want them off of, an upper level access road. You might not get it on a major arterial, but you might get it on a high level collector or something like that.
So just keep in mind that big picture. These big open properties over here that are currently in commercial, if those attract interest to be used as commercial,
yeah.
they're likely going to attract big, flat, large buildings
Boxes.
that have lots of trucks. And the only direction they're going to get to 15 is through Heidlersburg or through York Springs.
Yeah.
On either end,
Yeah.
which has implications just like it does.
Its own problems, yeah.
You know, and if it's on the other side of the road coming down through the intersection of White Church on the other side. Your dilemma is neither of those intersections are under your control.
That's what I was gonna say. They're not our intersections.
You know, so
Yeah.
this one over here at Heidlersburg is a state road. This one over here is state and township road. Just from the sheer permitting and review process, this one is going to go through PennDOT. This one here, 50-50. It's going to depend on what the use is and how much trips they're generating there to how it affects the state road. This one over here, it's not a question. So that's a big discussion point there for what you want this area to be. I would agree with what Cody said. I know why it went there, but
No.
it probably should not have gone across Old Harrisburg. There's no, it's likely just a set distance off,
It's 500 feet.
something like that, which was common at the time. Nowadays, most map or zoning ordinance map makers want to keep it at property lines or road lines. So it would, and today it would come right down Old Harrisburg Road. And if you want to keep it, I would draw it right down that line anyway.
Okay.
The question that I want to impress upon you to think about is if you keep it over here, there are implications for what's in that district, what would be in that district, and the uses and the type of trips that it could generate. And there's impacts that has on intersections that are outside of your jurisdiction, which creates issues if something like that would come up. You'd likely have a lot of people at your meetings that would have some issues, but no standing
Right.
if you will,
Right.
to have an impact. You know, which again, not the first municipality in the world, in the state to have that issue, and you certainly won't be the last. You know, that, for disclosure, that's partially why we had looked at this area up here on the Carlisle Pike, which is a higher classification road than Old Harrisburg Road.
Yeah.
And has, you know, direct access there and then up to the interchange. There, so then, which already has truck traffic using it in that manner in the first place, so it's
Yep.
not as big of a disruption to the overall road network or community over here as it would potentially be over here.
Right.
So, you know, ultimately, it's going to be your call as to which direction you want it to go, but
We have a bad intersection right there, Quaker Gun Club, and that's nasty right now as it is.
That one 5 points is too, yeah, all of them are right through there.
That one is our problem there, part of it,
Yeah, it's half our problem.
yep.
So, again, those are the changes that we've made here that would be discussion points for you.
Hang on, I want to back up there. What, you say the gun club 94 is our? That's their state road.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's,
it's in our
that's
township.
in our township.
Yeah, it's in our-
Yeah. But
Heidlersburg's
Because the other
not
ones
in
aren't
our-
even in our township.
No, that's
the
what I
difference.
meant, they're not in our township.
Yeah.
This one.
right, I mean,
Yeah.
but the roads are
The
PennDOT.
state
No,
roads, yeah.
No, but it's
Yeah.
at least half in our township.
Right.
We would have some involvement in that, what was that?
Well, they
But-
fixed that 20 years ago.
Yeah, really.
Really?
Made it a launch site.
And Andy's point is, if we pull the trigger down in the, down in that lower area, the Heidlersburg area, the worst intersections aren't in our township.
That's what I was.
Yeah. And your point about, filling up the room, we would fill up the room with Tyrone people and other people saying, you're ruining our town by making this area that hasn't been developed for commercial before, developed for commercial. And Huntington aren't paying the ultimate price, obviously we pay some of the price, but the intersections that are gonna be a disaster, depending on which side of White Church we're on, which side of 15 we're on, they're gonna be on the Heidlersburg side or that White Church intersection. It's just awful. I think
Well,
2 people have been killed there since we lived here.
I'm not looking at that as trying to advocate for large warehouses and stuff. I wanna see that like the plague. But if somebody wants to open a repair shop or a smaller business that doesn't comply with the agricultural laws, which is most of your businesses, that's their only spot to do it down there. Any of the commercial industrial is the only place them places can. If you're not working on a tractor, you can't have a repair shop in the ag district. So, that's why I'm seeing is opportunity for that type of thing. And I understand it comes with the opposite of that, which could
Yeah.
be something we don't want,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's been that way for years. And like I said, I know that gentleman that bought that with the intention of, that's makes that property worth more. So to buy that and then 6 months later, the township goes, well, we're not doing that anymore. We're going down here to this little tiny spot. I mean, that may have other people here angry for other reasons, so.
That sort of goes into what I was thinking. We should have a new zone, like a flex zone.
Yes, some things
It could-
need to
it
be
could-
in the
It
ag
could run
zone
up
that
the
would be
whole
allowed.
old Harrisburg Road, both
Yeah.
sides.
Yep.
Something that could
Define it.
be, that could be a flexible for a small business owner
Yep,
or residential or something of that nature. Not full-scale industrial type of use.
no.
But
Yeah.
if someone went, like you said, a
If
garage
we
shop
could, if we
or-
could work that in, then you can do whatever you want with closing that down, but those areas are the only opportunities for what he talked about. My family's had a business at my property for 3 generations, and if they close that, if it's closed down for 2 years, it can't be reopened. That's why it's still open to this day.
Hmm.
This is grandpa again.
Exactly. So if my sign comes down and that business is closed 2 years, I can't open it back up. And that's not, this day and age, I don't think that's right.
So is the township talking about, we'll just stick with Old Harrisburg Road, are you talking about maybe taking off on the west side that commercial potential and/or right here in the peak, right where Hurley, where it just had the auction and all that, right there, like on the west, are you talking about taking away possibly the, from the road going west?
It's not fair to say we're talking about it. We're just brainstorming a whole
Well,
bunch
we're
of
talking,
different
we're
ideas.
discussing, yeah, I'm just saying, is that, what?
I wouldn't think that would be something we'd do. Taking away isn't the approach we're trying to take. We're trying to add to people's
Let's say we're gonna revise it, not take away,
Right.
let's
Yeah.
just say, looking to revise its usage.
That's an area that we're discussing revising. So
Okay,
if that
thank you.
answers your question.
Thanks.
You have something to say, Andy, say it.
Okay, so let me finish one, I wanna come back to this discussion with something else, but let me finish something else.
And you have a point
Else
on
here,
flex.
and I'm gonna hand something else out
All
that,
right.
that will, I think will help move this discussion forward a little bit. The last thing that I added was this orange area up here, which kind of goes around Flowing Springs, around the next property, which was
Fox.
proposed for something, I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was Harry Fox.
It's nothing,
There.
it's just a field now, right?
For sale.
Yeah, he's for sale.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is
been
it?
for sale.
Yeah, a couple months ago at least.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
And then another area, basically around the westish side here.
Kind of the backside of the borough, right?
Yeah, which roughly coincides with where your residential districts are
Okay.
right now. Again, there's the utilities don't necessarily go out there. There is one project that there is technically a second phase of the townhouse project there. Apple, something like that.
Something, yeah.
That I actually found the plan in the road deeds office that shows that there's no lots in the township. It just stops at the township line. But if this would be the setting where that residential use, that would be your intense residential settings there. So that combines the changes we've been talking about here, where the changes to the character area map that's in front of you. Again, the conversation's happening, I want to make sure everybody knows that character areas are not zoning. They're the first step in making the zoning districts. What I'm going to hand out here is the first step towards that, and I want to go over this, and it will help you have those discussions a little bit more. So these would be some potential districts we'd be looking at. An ag conservation district, very similar to what you have now. The rural residential district, which would, again, that would largely be the yellow, small yellow areas up here. A village district, which would be around Idaville. Residential district, which would be around Flowing Springs and York Springs. Then we get to the three that kind of cover what we were talking about. The rural commercial district, I'll explain. Commercial district and industrial. I'll start with industrial because that's relatively easy to state. Now again, this is if you would want. Right now you have a combined one, commercial and industrial. You have if you want, you have enough of a industrial cluster to create your own district around Now's Peach Glen property, if that's what you want. If not, it can be a combined district.
Where are you pointing to there?
Purple, up here.
Oh, okay.
Purple up in the top corner.
Got it.
and a commercial district, which would be everything else.
Okay.
And you notice that from the one of the biggest changes from the one I showed in January to now is that the color has changed. And this setting here around here, down here, and over here. Something that we've created in another township is this rural commercial district, which is it's a way to think of it is it's a lighter version of a commercial district that's more focused on settings where you have either a combination of residential properties and commercial properties that have cropped up over the years. Think of a setting that might not have had zoning, so you have a mishmash of uses that, how in the heck did we get a salvage yard across from a strip of houses, for example?
Yeah.
You know, that's that sort of thing.
Right.
You don't necessarily want to encourage it to grow and get more mixed up, but you don't want to say, you know what, we're going to make you all non-conforming even. So we came up with this, and we called it rural commercial, just because it's not a traditional commercial district. It's something that's unique to a lot of rural areas.
Yeah.
That don't have zone. Like, go over into the parts of Franklin County that don't have zoning on the west of Chambersburg.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of, different uses right next to each other. They function fine. It's a very rural area. There's not a lot around it. It's, the conflicts are lessened because of that.
Yep.
That's the type of district that this would be envisioned. It's been applied in rural areas. It's also been applied in some rather major, highway sections for different reasons in other municipalities. So as you're thinking of the area, the 94 corridor, the area around the 15 interchange and the upper part of Old Harrisburg Road, the area of Old Harrisburg Road down to Wireman's Mill Road, and then the area down here where we've been talking about.
Yeah, we kind of have it on White Church now. That is, if I were to throw the best definition of that I can think of, where we kind of have rural commercial already,
That is.
I'd say White Church. Yeah,
You have 3-4 businesses and
yeah. It's
houses,
houses and body shop and
a repair shop.
yeah,
Sign business.
sign business. Yeah, exactly.
So now, and it's just a something to throw out there. If this is something that a type of setting, and it look, this is just a broad description. It can be different as we go forward. Would something like that's apply where this area down here, across that whole setting? It's not gonna get you the high intensity commercial stuff, but it'll get you the more.
That's what
I would say it's not going to get you the data centers. It's not going to get you the warehouses. It's not going to get you the stuff that's
Most
that's
objectionable.
objectionable.
Yeah.
That causes the most impacts. But it will get you might get you stuff that's a little more community serving, if you will.
Yeah.
So that might be, maybe that's an in between. Now, as we talk about this, there's something else that in most municipalities, in fact, all but 2 in the county, we won't even talk about this. But because of a unique factor you have here, it's something that's worth just putting out there. Especially in context of those big uses, data centers and warehouses, et cetera. So when they come in here, what's one of the first things they tout? Jobs, tax revenue.
Jobs and tax base.
And we don't like to do zoning and planning based on taxes, because that can change. And quite frankly, in the past, it leads to bad land use decisions. But you're unique in that, yes, there's a school tax, but you don't have a township tax.
Yep.
So, if, let's say somebody dropped a data center proposal at the interchange here, it'll impact the school district, but, or let's say a warehouse, like a warehouse is being built up in here in Dillsburg behind, by Baker's.
Yeah.
If somebody drops something like that here, the school district will benefit from those taxes, the county will benefit from those taxes, you get nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now, and again, not saying that you should, that should change,
Yeah.
believe me.
It's a good point.
But that's something you need to take into consideration here. When those sort of things happen, you're going to get the impacts,
You're
but
gonna
the
get
revenue
money.
side
Not the
doesn't
revenue.
You're not
flow
gonna get
to
money.
you unless they happen to live here or work in the township.
And
Again.
that's minimal at its best. I
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And outside of you and Mountjoy, we're not having that discussion anywhere.
Yeah.
But that's something that you need to have in the back of your mind, that as those sort of things happen, you get the impacts of them, but without
Yeah.
the revenues to address it.
Yeah.
So, when you're thinking about how extensive do you want to make this, where do you want to put this sort of stuff, you have an extra factor, if it will, to consider. So, the reason I wanted to hand you this tonight is to, A, give you some idea of where we'd be going in terms of districts, and if you like some of these, and if you don't. But two, to show you that rural commercial option versus the commercial and the industrial descriptions on the back of the page,
Yeah.
so that there is another alternative out there for that. And that, again, that rural commercial, it's applied in rural areas, and frankly, it's applied on another section of 94. In probably a much more intense version than you would likely have, because there's, a lot of more existing there than there is here.
So the township using this in Adams County now,
Yes.
how many, roughly?
Less than 5.
Okay.
Like I said, we just created it several years ago
Okay.
when we were redoing some ordinances. Again, let me back up. I'm planning headline. It says, well, we want mixed use. Well, when you say mixed use, what do you want? Do you want mixed use because you mean multiple types of uses on one property? Or do you mean mixed use in terms of, I want to put as many possible uses in this district so that
Yeah.
the property owner can basically do whatever they want, and we have zoning without having zoning?
Right.
Which version do you want?
So
Too often we get, it's let's permit everything here so we can keep our options open, rather than looking what's the best fit for what fits the community.
So if we decided to, let's just say, make that area down there the rural commercial, would we be able to make the list of what uses we would allow in that as permitted, and then possible conditional, and then we could have that to a T, what?
Yep.
I like
The only
that.
caveat I would say is that by law, you have to provide for every use somewhere.
Well, that was my
in
next
your
question.
municipality.
I don't wanna do that, take the commercial industrial away, do that, and then put the township in a possible bind where if one of them big operations does come in here and go, well, we're not.
Well,
We
and
gotta be careful of that too.
and that's a great point. Now, I'll go up here to
If we can get away with that, great.
So, I mean, from purely from a, and it's called spot zoning, is what it is.
Yep.
Purely from that perspective. And this area here, it's in the area, that's all the Nels plan.
Mm-hmm.
They actually own, there's more property that they own there, but it's the fields operations, so we cut that out. And again, we have no idea what their long-term plans are at all.
Sometimes I don't think
you know.
they do.
But there's enough land there and properties there, again, all one owner, but that's a different issue,
Mhm.
that you can legitimately make it an industrial district and not be excluding anything.
Mhm.
On the flip side, unless they sell, it's not developing anything in that that industrial settings either. You know, if you're uncomfortable with that, you would want to allow some industrial elsewhere. You know, then these could have industrial and
Bless you.
and a combined commercial industrial district up here that could include some of this. If you're concerned that there's not enough land here to accommodate everything, then these settings here could potentially be a fallback.
Right,
Potentially,
right.
not saying it should, just potentially. And then you have this area here and this area down here as your in between. You know, so that's some things to think about.
And whenever, like it's industrial, if you narrow it down and say put small tracts of industrial, and you don't allow enough room for real industrial use, they can come in there and sue us because we didn't provide for
Right.
That's what I don't want to,
I'm
that's
not-
what I don't want to run into, because you won't win the battles with them,
No, you
they got
won't.
money.
You won't.
I guess I'm not saying this is the best idea. I'm saying it's a possible.
Yeah,
Right,
it's, right.
In theory, it would work. Now, what that might not be in practice, it might not, and maybe there should be the rural commercial, the combined commercial industrial up there. But to get to your point, Cody, yes, the next step beyond taking these, making actual maps that are not just drawing lines, but by by parcel
Bipartisan.
to show options, come to a version that everybody's comfortable with, and then we start working on the districts, and that's where we get to the, like in your current ordinance, there's I don't know if you have a table of uses or whatever, but what uses are best suited in which district, then how do you want to permit them? Do you want them by right? Do you want them by special exception, conditional use? How do you want to go about that? And again, just because we've written a version of this rural commercial district in another municipality, doesn't mean that exact model will work here. It needs to be tweaked to fit your reality. And you might want, I'll give you an example. Tyrone has 2 agricultural preservation districts. One in the, I'm going to say, northern half is fruit-oriented. They do not permit industrial agricultural operations in that ag district. In the second one, in the southern half of the township, they do. That's down where Hillendale is. There, they permit those. They want to direct those there. Now, does that meet some state laws? I think that's questionable. But it works for them.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
From a planning perspective, I think it makes perfect sense. From a
Yeah.
legal perspective, maybe less so. But the point is, they created 2 different districts that in the same type of use that control some different. To be frank, as if we go back to, I don't know if I have this. Bear with me while I turn some stuff off here. Go back to this map, which shows the agricultural character areas. You have the northern end of the fruit belt here, and then you have a lot of crop and animal operations and the rest of it. So, you have a bit of the same thing, just there's because their geography, it comes down a little bit further in theirs than it does in yours. You have some of the same sort of settings there. Again, I'm not recommending that you do that like them, because it's not as distinct. Whether you have major fruit operations and major animal husbandry operations in the same setting. But that's an example. Now we're talking about this from the commercial side of it, industrial side of it. Having two different settings because one, has the space but not the access. The other has the access but not the space. And how do you make the two marry up to give yourself the best path forward?
So one of the things you were gonna do for us is have the zoning that's contiguous next to us, so we can see what,
You did say that and I forgot.
yeah, okay.
I
So for next time, we can take a look at that.
I apologize.
That's all right. Ted, you can say.
Yeah, just a bit.
Oh,
Ron, did you have something you wanted to?
You have that industrial up at Peach Glen. If I was looking for an industrial area, that's the last place I would want to do.
yeah.
You got about 20 acres up there that's relatively flattish type ground that you can work with. The rest of it is either uphill, downhill, steep, and whatever you want to call it. It's,
Yeah.
the only thing that's there that if any benefit for anything industrial is if now foods would go away, it's a sewer plant. That would be the only thing that would draw somebody in there, because as far as doing anything in there to make anything, it would be too hard to get anything larger industrial in there to do anything with, because of the physical
Yeah.
location type stuff.
Well,
So,
one of my reactions to that is that may be exactly what we want.
well, that's possible.
Yeah, yeah, we gave him a spot. If it's not right for him, that's
If
too
it's not-
bad.
But-
Yeah.
If it's not suitable, they'll look somewhere else.
That's exactly.
But do they have legal recourse if that's the only spot we have?
Well, if it's the only spot, it might be. Yeah, but we don't have to make it the best spot.
No,
in
no,
town-
by
in
all
town.
means.
I mean,
I don't want to.
That's my point.
Yeah, we don't have to accommodate.
If we don't want
no.
something in the.
It's an existing one now, and it works because it's there now,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it
Yeah,
carries on later on.
but my point is, if there's something that we conclude we don't want, data centers are what nobody seems to want, so I can pick on data
So
centers.
it's one you just keep quiet about.
We
It
can,
works.
yeah, or you can put your data center on that cliff. Yeah, well, I don't want a data center, that's too bad, that's our spot for the data center.
The two of the typical tests when it comes to exclusionary or spot zoning. One, are there requirements for specific uses in your ordinance that make it physically impossible to locate? You have heavy industrial has to be on a 50-acre parcel, minimum lot size.
And you don't provide
And
50
then
acres.
and there's no 50-acre parcels in your industrial district. Now you're in a problem.
We aced them out.
If
Yeah.
you say minimum lot size is 1 acre, uses are permitted, and there's properties that it can physically fit on, they're just not for sale.
Bad.
That's
How-
not that.
How it goes.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's traditionally not been considered. Doesn't mean every judge or lawyer will agree with
No,
you.
that's right.
But traditionally, that's what where the line has been. Like I said, you had this, now so there it gives you the option to. It might not be the best option, but it gives you the option to. Considering what we talked about tonight, you might retain the combined commercial industrial district, and it's up here, and it's these two settings over here, and then you might end up with two rural commercial districts. One that's in this setting right here.
Yep.
I think
That
sounds
is a little. It's like a souped up rural residential district,
Mm-hmm.
and one down here, which is like a toned down commercial district.
Yep.
You could see something
Which
like
we
that.
kind of have.
And I
already.
recognize we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're talking maybe 6 or 7 different zoning districts compared to 4 now. But the flip side, you're also making it that the properties are in zoning districts that better fit them and
Yeah.
make it easier for people to develop. Like these areas now, these yellow areas, they're all in the Ag Preservation District. So they're subject to that maximum lot sizes, the sliding scale, there's all the restrictions that come with the large ag lots, those small residential lots are subject to.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, along with the setbacks and everything. Maybe that's restricting those smaller lots more than it's preserving the larger ones. So
Yeah.
getting them in one that fits them from a dimensional perspective might help them if they want to further.
Yep.
Because subdividing those isn't going to be as impactful as it is subdividing a larger farm.
Right.
Notes I have is, you want to see the adjacent zoning in here, which I apologize, I forgot. I have this here, you can think about it.
Yeah,
If you'd like me-
that's new information.
Very
That's
helpful.
Very useful.
If you would like me to go back and come up with some other descriptions for what we talked about here.
For the rural commercial, would you maybe be able to give a list of some uses that other townships have in that?
I'll
that they're
bring
using?
an example of the last one that I wrote
Okay.
Okay.
there, so you can see what those look like. A fair warning, it's in a much more developed municipality than you are.
Okay.
You know, so keep that in
So we
mind.
can dial it back.
It has, you know, it's not just for commercial, there's the residential side, it includes uses and densities that are not appropriate for your settings.
Right.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind.
We don't
yes.
wanna complicate matters.
No.
Well,
I get it, but we don't wanna make it too complicated,
No.
because this township is not heavily influenced. I mean, let's be honest, we don't have a lot to offer, and that's quite all right.
Yeah.
tell you what I'll also do is I'll see if I can come up with separate descriptions here for
We don't know what you're writing over there. Separate
well,
description.
I'm making it notes myself first before I
Oh,
say it.
okay, all right.
Okay. I'll come up with two separate rural commercial descriptions. One that is rural residential heavy, and another that is commercial industrial light.
Okay.
There, two different
Sounds good.
different descriptions
Yeah.
to reflect the conversation we've had tonight about this setting up here versus this setting
Right.
down here.
Okay.
And I'll revise this down here to reflect that from character area discussion as well. Because shifting to that perspective changes the potential character area that we would be looking at and setting. So those are, and then the example list of uses in another
That would be great.
setting.
Both permitted and conditional.
Yeah, that was,
Or
yeah, that
in
was
special
more-
exception.
mainly what I was,
I'll just
not
bring-
necessarily the legalese, but just the actual uses that they
Yeah.
decided.
I'll just run a copy of, and I wrote it, so I'll just run a copy of the whole district there and share it with you,
Okay.
and you can go from there.
Great.
I'll even include the municipality so you can see where it is.
Okay, that's helpful.
It's not far. It's
Okay.
just down 94, so.
Okay.
Um,
I think
But again, this whole discussion about the commercial and industrial side, it's, municipalities like you, like Huntington, it's a difficult conversation, because you don't have a large cluster. It's like when I work with Reading Township. There's no commercial or industrial setting down there. It's how far do you want to expand around Hampton?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very difficult down there to figure out, and it's also very difficult down there it's close to being, where it's really small and it's limiting, and even expanding it becomes a challenge.
Yeah.
They've not been successful in expanding it for a variety of reasons. So if you're in a setting where you don't have that sort of thing, that's why you're a little bit fortunate that you have one. It becomes challenging to figure out where do you want to accommodate something that you don't currently have.
Right. Okay, that's great, Andy, thank you.
Any other
questions or comments or things you want me to put?
Not right now, for me anyway.
I'm sure there'll be more later.
No, but there'll be a lot.
This is good though. Get these discussions
Yeah.
moving along and stuff. And what we work out, what comes out of there, the end result's gonna determine the character of the neighborhood for 10, 20 years down the road. So
Yeah.
it's not, don't take lightly what we're doing. I mean, it's very important. It's gonna impact people and their property values, everything. It's,
Oh,
I live here, so I won't mess it up.
yeah, good. That's another good point. Speaking of values, you were also gonna check with the tax authorities to see changes in tax, if we change a zone. The implications of that. Thank you.
is there any other questions for Andy?
With what came up in the back in February, I completely forgot that stuff.
That's-
I apologize.
That's all right.
Thank you.
All right. No other old business, move on to public comments. Maria?
I want to first thank Andy Merkel for bringing handouts for the audience. I think that it makes it more interesting for us. I mean, I'm interested in zoning, et cetera, from my past job, but also in speaking about the Ronald Miller property and the website not having the new ordinance up. It's not really well kept. Whether, I don't know who is responsible here for it, but they still have Ron Resch down as a planning commission member. And I brought this up at the Board of Supervisors. I missed the little midget car racing hearing because it wasn't on the website. And Solicitor King said, well, we did it according to law, which is a newspaper. But when you have a website, the Sunshine Act indicates you should have it also on your website. And I was very disappointed that I missed it. It would have been a very interesting hearing, I'm sure. But, so that's all I wanted to say. And I hope that in the future we could have that. And I know you're planning commission, but if you could kind of put it in the ears of the supervisors that it may be a good idea to have it on our website. I mean, they still have the December 9th, I don't even know what it is, they have the December 9th hearing still up. So it's, so in previous ones, they did have it on the website, so,
Good point. I mean, if we're gonna have that, we should keep it up to date.
yeah.
I mean, what I hate is going into, criticizing our own township, but when you go to a website, look something up, and it's not been touched for 2 years or something.
Right.
I mean, like say a restaurant, and you go there and the restaurant's shut, it's like, what the heck?
I could even understand it if we were doing it ourselves and people don't get time, but we're paying a company to have this website up and running, so,
I mean,
maybe they're not getting the information they need, what's happening there, but.
I hope you got my point where that ordinance was adopted.
Right.
And he filed the plans after it was officially adopted, so
Right,
he has to abide by the
right.
law.
No, I understood that.
Scott, I
Well,
have a
is-
question about that. Didn't
doesn't-
you just say you got the ordinance yesterday that can now be posted?
Doesn't he have to sign, doesn't the attorney have to sign off on it?
Yeah, I think it was yesterday, I think that's what George
Yeah,
told
but
me.
I mean, it couldn't be posted
Until-
before because you did not
Well, it was,
receive the electronic copy?
well, we've all had the electronic copy for,
Oh, okay.
But it's,
but it's not officially signed and whatever they have to
Okay.
do to send it to the county law library, or I
Okay,
don't know
okay.
exactly what they.
Okay.
One public service announcement, because you mentioned the website. There was a change in the federal ADA law a couple of years ago. that talks about websites and public documents being, I'm gonna call it ADA because I can't remember the exact term, ADA compatible. It's things like, if you have an image, you have an alt text with it for people that might use readers or things that might be visually or hearing impaired. The compliance deadline is based on population in the setting. If you're over 50,000, it's April. That's us. If it's under 50,000, it's next April. That's every other municipality. I would hope that Todd has talked to you about it, but I know from talking to some other solicitors and some people from PSATs that a lot of municipalities around the state are going like this with it, or like this with it, because they're thinking it'll go away. Just because now most, your lawyer can talk to you. Hopefully the hosting company can help identify it. But there's some compliance things that would come up. They're coming up by federal law that it's not just you, it's every municipality around here is going to have to comply with. Fortunately, you have an example because the county website's going to have to be compliant by next month. So that's like, and it's not just documents, like the maps that we have, interactive maps we have, all of those have to comply. This for comparison, the planning office website has 30% of the documents in the entire county website. One department, 30%. And we have a month to comply. So.
Very good to it.
But the point being is that, as you talk about the website, there's this other compliance thing that's coming down the pike that municipalities need to be aware of there.
No, I just.
Who knows, will there be any challenges? Who knows, but.
I just know a lot of residents think that, I don't wanna say it's deliberate by the township that they're not doing it, but it doesn't seem like it would be too hard to put the notice of a hearing on the website so that somebody can see it. And a comment that, well, it's in the newspaper, well, what do we have a website for? So.
It's like things are being hidden.
Yeah, we've been told,
I don't think things are being.
No,
hidden.
but
that's
what's being said.
I think you'd be amazed the small amount of people that look at the website.
Sure.
well, I'll just say from my experience that when it came to forms, we used to come in here and get them. And the supervisor said, well, they're on the website, go on the website. So now we go on the website and we can't even find out when
The forms are here too.
Well, I know they are, but that's not how it
You
was.
were told that.
That's not how it was. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
sit here and
this
argue.
is digressing out of our
Correct.
meeting,
Yeah.
so,
Yes, it is. Need to
I
stay
didn't want to slap that
about it.
down,
No, in fact, they still have that you're looking for a planning commission member.
but,
I
yeah.
think,
There's,
yeah,
your point's well taken.
No.
I mean,
but,
We're just trying out for
Yeah.
Oh, I've been here many years. I'm used to it.
so, okay. Is there any other public comments? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, the next supervisors meeting is April 9th, and planning commission meeting is April 27th. Not hearing any objections, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Made second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. What?
I was thinking there's a possibility I might not be here in April, but I won't know until April.
We'll adapt.
It depends on how that weekend goes.
Give us whatever notice you can, so we can update the agenda.
Good evening.
All right, great.
Hey, Scott, where do I get a subdivision ordinance?
I didn't want to attack the town, I saw it. I'm sorry, you look on that website, and it's not, It's not up to me.
Yeah, I mean, who's going on with that? I mean, I don't know.
Send it, drop it off.
I'm not gonna text it to you, because Julie, I get every
Well,
information.
she has to get them the information for the website.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be that different. I don't.
I appreciate it, Chris, looking at another piece of property that's in the township.
I gotta stay
That,
on.
FAT,
Yeah.
Now that
Exactly.
things have calmed down a little bit, she's got her things in order,
They work
yeah.
with
And
Look, she had a massive hole to dig out.
Oh,
We all.
Fast,
And
F-A-S-T.
I think she's.
I'll tell you what,
Fast,
it was a whole lot of people.
Then we have.
That's the only
Yeah.
one. What was
Yeah,
they were
and
talking
she-
about?
when I say she brought it up, I said, you know, because of payroll services, taxes, all that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not, that's what you want.
Oh, I developed, okay. That's what you pay your engineers. So that's what I'm thinking right now, I understand, so, hey, I'm just.
No, that's fine.
So that's what I have.
You're and I will always give, so I get Julie the benefit of the doubt.
I don't want to be doing the
Most people wouldn't mistake, because she's taking income in from all sides. Yeah.
why I didn't make a set.
And there would be those that just stop by and say, thank you for being here.
I do every chance.
Yes.
Because we would be in a real pickle.
Yes.
I mean, we were, but.
We were, and it could have been
But
worse.
she
That's hard to
was
believe.
the right person for.
Now on the board it doesn't.
There's not hardly anybody.
And so is his dad. But
All right, guys.
I guarantee you,
And I
Ken did
guess-
not go to the website and see, oh, there's no new ordinance
I
there.
know.
Oh, I didn't see it on.
That's his responsibility.
And he never. That's his job.
That's why
Hey,
You know, but there
for a
hasn't
building
been
permit,
any.
would Julie have the application?
Well, the
She
last,
has a
last
picture.
it's in the
Okay.
case there too.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was the website that you
How
sent,
you doing?
and I gotta have that.
Yeah.
The last-
Apparently Mom posts on Facebook too, but I'm not on Facebook.
She does, and that's where I saw it, it did start to make a turn for the better.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Checking where it is, but that's the,
So,
yeah. It's like right now, I'm having, pain in my muscles. But here's sore, outside here is sore, back is sore. I mean, I've had,
he's
I've had
operating the same
chiropractic
way
work
for
done,
30
which does
years.
alleviate
That's the way they did
the
30
falls
years ago.
back in.
It doesn't matter how
And
many
I still
comments you had,
have-
we'll take care of it.
I think it puts pressure on you. We passed tradition. We gotta make sure it's.
Everything comes back to the same. Why was it this?
No one can seem to say Andy, thank you. No one can seem to figure out what it is.
I'm gonna try to get somewhere
That's
with
what
John
I'm-
Hopkins.
Well, that's,
If you can, I mean,
I waited
I
nine
don't
months.
see it, but it ain't right.
The rheumatologist was out 9 months.
John Hopkins.
No, no.
I was gonna say,
That was
Gene
a,
waited,
That's fine. That's why you guys hire us.
you could have had to go through everything within a month, but there was some reason why we said,
that's right.
no, we had to
You say
wait. I
yes.
forget what it
They
was.
say yes.
But,
Just sign it.
yeah, I mean,
You got enough
We-
other stuff to do.
If it ain't signed.
we got into where we, you know, of course, there's huge amounts of different places.
I've looked at, the rheumatologist, they wanted me to go there to rule out autoimmune.
Okay.
Because there's been a lot of autoimmune issues that have happened with people who have gotten a shot. The COVID vaccine, or they've had COVID multiple times. I haven't never. So, that was one of the reasons why. I got an appointment with the rheumatologist and they could rule out MS, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at WellSpan, I called them, I think I told you, I think I went September, October last year, and they didn't have anything until April this year. I called that state to see if I could get it sooner, because I can, that's still a network. They said we have nothing in 2026. The first would be in 2027. So that's, and I flat out asked him, like, that's ridiculous, what is going on? They're like, well, there's a shortage of rheumatologists because it's training, so enough doctors. And to be frank, since COVID, everyone's getting autoimmune issues, which rheumatologists have. So they're just, they're taxed.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you what's really going on.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, I'm functioning for the most part, I'm not functioning where I'm doing,
Supervisors there, she never said
I am doing financial advising, and that's enough for me.
You're not making a
to
decision.
Get
No,
enough.
You're not having a discussion.
And they're not doing it
But
tomorrow.
I can't
because
do
today they were
physical
gonna-
work,
Mhm.
it's just,
I
I'm
do
bored
work,
out.
isn't it?
I'm glad I'm better than
Funeral, that is-
some people,
Because they're doing it
there's
tomorrow.
a,
I don't know if she went there today, I wish she went there today.
So it's up to the Parks and Waste Management.
Yeah, that's the only two bids they got. See, the last time here, they only got one bid.
Yeah.